everyone, and welcome to my very first booktube video. Since this is my very first time filming a video, I thought I would do the new To Booktube tag. This tag was created by Trina from the channel Between Chapters. I'll have her channel linked down below in the description. Question number 1. Where are you joining us from? So I'm currently living in Norway, which is where I was born and mostly raised. I have lived a year in America, and so I think I have quite an American accent, but I've also lived a year in Australia. But right now I'm back living in Norway, and yeah. Question number 2. How old are you? I'm 20 years old. I turned 21 in October this year. Question number 3 is, why did you join Booktube? Now, the biggest reason why I joined Booktube is that I have no bookish friends in real life. My sister reads a lot of graphic novels, so we talk about that a lot. I don't have like any book nerds to gush about books with, so I thought I would give this a go. Question number 4 is, what is the meaning behind your channel name? Well, my channel name is Ingrid in Neverland, and Ingrid is because, you know, that's my name. And in Neverland is because 2 of my favorite books are Peter Pan and Neverland. So this is one of my favorite books, which is where Neverland came from. And then I also have Neverland, which I just read. It came out early this year, and this is now my favorite book of all time. So I wanted to give a little shout out to my favorite books, I guess. These books means a lot to me, so I wanted to incorporate them into my channel name. Question number 5 is, what types of book do you read / what kind of books do you want to talk about? I read mostly YA fantasy. I do try and branch out, so I read a little bit of contemporary, a little bit of historical fiction, a little bit of mystery maybe, but mostly it's fantasy. Question number 6 is, who are some of your favorite authors? I don't think I've discovered my favorite authors quite yet. I discovered Booktube just a year ago, and I got so many recommendations all at once, so I'm slowly working my way through them. I would say some of the favorite ones that I've discovered so far are definitely J. Kristoff. He is one of my favorite authors. He's one that I can for sure say. His second book in the Nevernight Chronicle, God's Grave, is probably on my top 3 list of favorite books of all time. Also really like Leigh Bardugo. I also really like Rita Sepetty's writing. I've read 2 of her books and really love them. Oh, I do Stephanie Garber's. I read the 2 books that she's come out with so far. I absolutely love them. And also Ruby Kaur. She's the poetry author of Milk and Honey and The Sun and Her Flowers, and I love these books. And question number 7 is, what's the last book you read? So the last book that I finished was Lost Boy by Christina Henry. This is a Peter Pan retelling about Captain Hook, so it's about how Jamie, aka Captain Hook, turns into Captain Hook, so it's him when he was a part of the Lost Boys, and I absolutely love this book. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. If you're interested in this kind of premise, if you like retellings, it's a bit on a darker side, I would say. I think it's technically classified as a horror. I'm not sure if I would go as far as calling it a horror myself, but it's definitely gritty, and if you're into that kind of thing, I highly recommend picking this one up. Question number 8 is, what are you currently reading? I'm not currently reading a physical book, but I am listening to The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and I'm loving that audiobook. It's great. Question number 9 is, what do you use for bookmarks? I usually just use whatever is around me, so if that's a receipt or some other type of paper. But I have started using bookmarks, and I really like the book depository one. This is the jar of bookmarks that I use. I have a separate jar that's all my pretty bookmarks that I don't use because I'm collecting them. But these are all the bookmarks that I use, and as I said, I really like the book depository ones. I just feel like they're the perfect size. But I also have a lot of promotional stuff that I just don't really care about. I don't care if these get ruined, you know, if they get bent. So these are all the ones that I use on a regular basis. Question number 10 is, show us your TBR pile. My TBR pile has gotten a bit out of hand, so it would be too much to show, but basically all of this shelf, and this is only the fantasy one, on this shelf the only book I've read is The Cool Prince. Other than that, all of these are TBR books. And then there's a few which do you prefer questions in question number 11, and those are hardcover or paperbacks. I have this weird way of deciding between hardcovers and paperbacks because I like them both. It depends on what type of book it is. If it's a big book, like a big fantasy, I need in hardcover, like The Children of Blood and Bone or The Kiss of Deception, like those big books, I want in hardcover. It's just find it easier to read. But if it's like contemporaries, I prefer them to be like a paperback. And it also depends on the cover. I always go for the prettier cover. Yeah, sometimes, I don't know, I just, whatever I can get for cheap. If I find a book I really want to read at a discounted price or in a used bookstore, I'll probably buy it, that edition. Yeah, I can't really pick. And then there's ebooks or physical books. As you can probably tell, physical books. I do love ebooks and I read a lot of them, but if I could only choose one, it would probably be physical books. And the last one is owning or borrowing books. As you can tell, I like owning books. I do borrow a lot of audiobooks and some ebooks from the library, but I just feel like you connect more with a book when it's like your book and you can write it, you can annotate it. I'm that kind of person that writes in her books. I love it. And I can't do that in a library book, so if it's a book I think I'm gonna love, I would rather read it for the first time in my own copy so I can highlight the things I like, I can write my comments in them. I like that reading experience a bit more. So question number 10 is, what books or series got you into reading? I've always considered myself a reader. I can never really remember a time in my life that I didn't read. I don't think I have a series that got me into it, but I do remember the first book series that I kind of fangirled about, and that was the Molly Moon series. I've had this in Norwegian and I believe this might be the 3rd or 4th book in the series because I don't own the whole series, unfortunately. I used to get them from the library. These were the first time I think I ever cried in a book. I cared about the characters, and to this day I still think of this probably like my favorite childhood book, and I really want to reread it because I remember loving it and I still remember the big plot points in the series, so I think I might buy them in English because I believe they were written in English originally, and probably reread them someday. Question number 13 is, how did you discover BookTube? It was in the beginning of 2017, probably in like February or something like that. I was just watching videos on YouTube and I stumbled upon someone's favorite books of 2017. I don't remember who the first person I watched was, but I was just stumbled upon it and luckily I did. Question number 14 is, what challenges do you think you'll face with your own channel? There's a few worries that I have. One of them being my English. I do think I speak fairly good English, but it's still not my first language, so it's definitely a bit nerve-wracking. Just the whole talking to a camera, I'm not comfortable and I don't really know what I'm doing and I feel like it shows. But you know, you have to start somewhere, but I think like getting comfortable talking to a camera and stuff will be challenging. Lighting will be challenging. I am using natural light right now and it's currently 10 o'clock at night because it's summer in Norway, so I can do that. In the winter, however, there won't be any sunlight, so I'm a bit worried when the season change. We'll take that challenge when that arrives. Question number 15 is, where else can we find your link up? I'm not a big social media person, so I have a personal Instagram, but I don't have a Bookstagram. I also don't have a Twitter. I can link my Goodreads down below. I am fairly active on Goodreads, so if you have a Goodreads account and want us to be friends, I would love it if you add me there. That was it for this tag. I hope you enjoyed watching my probably very cringy first video. If you want to see more, then hit the subscribe button and I will see you in my next one. Bye!